Hi, I'm Chef Frank and this is ProtoCooks. Today we're going to learn how to cut onions. This is a basic skill that most people think they have down. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of how I do it. I have a couple of ways that will save you some time and maybe save you a few tears, okay? The first and most important thing when you chop onions or cut onions is that you have a sharp knife. I have a very sharp knife, right? And if you cut onions with a dull knife, you're gonna rupture the cells of the onions, and that's when you get all those kind of fumes that are gonna make you cry. So I have a very sharp knife, and I always start off with a sharp knife. There's a lot of different ways you can cut an onion, okay? Normally what I do, because in the restaurant industry we're always looking to save a little time, is I'll cut off both ends, okay? And then cut the onion in half. You can use these scraps for stocks. I was actually taught by an old German guy when I went to culinary school, and he had us use all the skins in our stock. A lot of chefs don't like that, but as long as the onion's clean, you can use the skin in your stock and it'll give it a kind of a bright yellow color. So that doesn't have to go to waste. I cut both ends off. Make sure that my knife is clean and I don't have any of the outside onion paper, because that onion paper is gross and it's like putting paper in your food. So normally the way they teach you is they teach you to kind of go down, cut like this, right? And then do this kind of cross cut. And I don't like this cut because now you're putting your hand in the way of the knife. And anytime I have to put my hand in the way of a sharp blade, I'm always wary. So the traditional cut is you cut this like this, and then you get some nice dice, okay? And it works. It's a tried and true method, but I was kind of taught a little different way. So working in the restaurant industry, we're always looking to save time, and one of my prep guys, who just happened to be from another country, said, "Hey chef, you're doing that wrong." And like as a chef, you're kind of like, oh, you take offense to that, but he showed me a different way to do it. So instead of cutting it straight down and then doing that cross cut, he turned the onion sideways, and then kind of cut, not all the way through, leaving this attached, okay? And then he kind of went over the onion in kind of a rainbow pattern. That's what I call it when I tell my students. Following the contour of the onion. And then when you get to the end, just finish up your dice. And it's kind of 30% faster. I think it's about 30% faster than doing it the classical French way. This way, I teach my students all the time and they're amazed. They're like, I can't believe I can save some time. So that's how I dice onions. So we've chopped our onions, that's one method. The next method I'm gonna show you is how to slice. And I kind of approach this the same way. I'll cut both ends off. Again, I'm not really wasting this. I'm gonna use it all. Peel off the outer skin, because this stuff is not food. You can compost it, but it never gets tender in your food. So let's get rid of that. So clean off your board, so make sure you don't have the onion skins. And there's two different methods here of slicing or doing a sliced onion. If you cut it, so you'll see there's lines on the onion. You'll see there's lines on the onion. If you cut it across those lines, that's actually called a slice, okay? So you're slicing the onion. And I usually use this cut when I'm gonna do a garnish on a plate with red onions. I'll use this cut when I kind of want the onion to disintegrate, because what's gonna happen is I'm cutting it across the fibers and it'll fall apart, okay? So that's a sliced onion. Another way to do this is to julienne. And when you julienne the onion, you're gonna cut it with the lines. I cut things this way when I want things to kind of stay together for like an onion soup or in a stew, right? So then I just go and follow the contour of the onion and I julienne, right? Now you can do this, make it fatter, skinnier, whatever you want, but the slice and the julienne are two cuts that are for different purposes.